I'm not a house. Okay, I'm off the plantation, but this woman is still on the plantation.
I disagree with you about Dr. Stein being a Zionist, by the way. Your platform, I don't see a Black agenda. So for you, if you were president, what would be your agenda for Black America?
Well, I've always said this. If you go look at my videos, it's about infrastructure.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I have to step in here because we've heard the infrastructure story for quite some time, and I'm not saying that that's not an issue, but the reality is the racial wealth gap, and the only way to fix that, which data has proven this time and time again, is reparations for descendants of slavery in this country.
Frankly, Sabby Sabs thinks she's smart, but she's basically a house slave to Jill Stein, is promoting Jill Stein. And she said, I don't think she's a Zionist. Jill Stein is a Zionist. Don't talk to me about reparations. Let's talk about reparations for my people. But she didn't want to have that discussion because she is a Aunt Jemima who wants to be a Jill Stein house slave.
So y'all just heard this exchange right here. And for those of y'all who are unaware of who this is on the left, her name is Sabrina Salvati, but she goes by Sabby Sabs on YouTube. She basically does podcasting and all the stuff like that. And actually, I first heard about her through Rob over at Blacklight Revelations. That's how I was familiar with her. And on the right is the person she was interviewing. His name is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. But after what he said in here, I could care less how to pronounce the man's last name, because at this point, that's the least of what's being discussed right here. So y'all just heard that exchange right there. And apparently, according to Sabby Sabs, this happened after the interview. Now, what you saw on your screen, that's a longer interview right there. A longer portion of the interview is about 4 minutes and 15 seconds. But what you heard right there, what he said, that was after, I believe that was after the fact. I don't think he said that to her during the interview, the part about being a house, and a house slave and all types of stuff like that. Now, if we look at the caption that she posted, she said, after this interview, Dr. Shiva called me a house N-word because I asked him about not having a Black agenda. Now, you heard what he said. This man went into a full-blown rant. He said, he started off saying, I'm not a house, nigga. Then he says, calling her Aunt Jemima, saying that she's a house nigga for Jill Stein and all kinds of stuff. Like, he just went on a full-blown unnecessary rant, all because she questioned him about a Black agenda that wasn't even there. And notice, yes, this man is indeed Indian, much like Nimrata and ramen noodles and the person who's running against 45. Notice all three of them don't have a Black agenda. No, peep the live that I just did on Kamala Harris and what happened with that, and how she basically folded to Ed Blum, which I'm not surprised or shocked about. Shoot, that thing was a farce before Ed Blum even got wind of it, to be quite honest with you. So if they couldn't even do that, that reparations wasn't happening. And then she goes on to say, he was arrogant and disrespectful and tried to tell me what reparations should be. This man is running for president and he showed his whole ass. And I thought it was also very disrespectful when he came back and said, what about reparations for me? What about reparations for my people? Well, then why, if you feel that you deserve reparations, then why don't you go and get it from wherever you're supposed to get it from? Because you ain't getting it from us. You not And if you look, I'm almost certain they probably did get some kind of tangible that we have yet to receive, but very much deserve. But see, this is the response that he gave to her because he was mad at the line of questioning that she was giving. And that just shows you right there how much they do not want for us to have a damn thing. Even when we demanded, that's when they pushed back even more. I remember Rob Blacklight was doing a live stream and they were talking about like what they feel Black people deserve and all types of stuff like that. We have all these people, including some of our own, I call them the co-colonizing cohorts, sitting up here trying to tell us what reparations is, what it looks like, and what we should get out of it. But see, the thing is, what they're really trying to say is, how can I get something out of the deal? And more so, not just something, but how can I get more out of the deal from the people that actually deserve it all. Like, where's my cut? Like, what can I get? I keep telling people, the day they cut that check, quote, be weary that they're going to be somewhere behind the scenes trying to figure out how in the world they are going to get some or a lot or most of it. It's going to be a loophole in there somewhere. I do not trust them fully to actually just give or just say, here you go, and send us on our way. I don't trust them to actually do that. That's why they keep doing all these studies. Speaking of studies, then Kamala Harris just come out and say that we got to do a study. We don't need another study. How many studies can you possibly do? Why aren't these other groups being studied, but we're the ones being studied like a science experiment? Oh, maybe that's because for so many years into our history, probably because we have been studied. They're continuing to study us right now. Didn't they come out with some kind of a documentary last year called Black Twitter, where they were doing a study on Black Twitter? So that tells you all you need to know right there. And also too, again, so much for this black and brown coalition yet again. But what I thought was interesting was when this video started to go viral and people started to get wind of it, was how he chose to respond to it. So this page right here, they call themselves Patty Politics. This is actually where I retrieved the video from that y'all heard at the beginning. I believe Sabby Sabs had it on her page too, but somebody, whoever reposted it and tagged me in it, it came from this page. They said, this guy is disgusting. Actually, Sabby had to end the interview early after asking about reparations for ADOS. What we know, we gonna say FBA, but we know what they talking about. And then they tagged them. It says VA_Shiva at Sabby Sabs 2 and at Dr. Jill Stein. So this person posted that on October 15, 2024. Now check out what he said in response when he replied to this. He said, actually, you're disgusting house slave. I'm guessing he was trying to tell the person you're a, but he put your, who's getting played back onto the plantation by someone whose hit job failed. She's a shill for Stein. He's talking about Jill Stein. Now this is in reply to the post that you just saw, in which they claim, or he claims, that I guess they're on sides with each other to go against him and what have you. And I guess this is his attempt to try to put a, I guess you can say, muddy up Sabby Sabs' name and try to make her seem one way when she's actually not. And this guy apparently got so irate and so tore up in the comments that he went even further as to block this page. As you can see right here, see, it says right here, Patty Politics, and this is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, MIT PhD, inventor of email, has blocked them. After they put that video out there. Again, this Patty Politics page, that's how I found out about the video, because this is the video that someone tagged me in. It wasn't from Sabby Sabs' page, it was from this page. So this is the page that pretty much made that video go viral and made everyone see it. So I'm not surprised that he ended up blocking him. But Sabby Sabs had to come back and defend herself against him saying what he was saying about her, because again, he tried to make it seem like, oh, she's a supporter of Jill Stein and Jill Stein is this and Jill Stein is that, when it was really because she questioned him about his lack of a black agenda. So here's what Sabby Sabs said right here. She says, here's Dr. Shiva showing that he's no different than the racist white people he complains about, calling me the N-word. He tries to make it seem like this is about Jill Stein. Nope, it is about him not having a black agenda. And again, that's what he tried to make it seem like. He tried to make it seem like she was like a shill for Jill Stein, when that wasn't even the case. It was, you didn't have a black agenda for black people, specifically black Americans. She asked you about reparations, and you went into a whole rant about house slaves and how you deserve reparations and all types of stuff. Like, you went into a whole rant. Like I tell you, bring up, all you got to do to really expose people and their anti-blackness, just bring up reparations and tangibles and watch them squirm, or in his case, lose their minds. Because that's exactly what he did. Y'all saw the video, and that's what happened. It wasn't her bringing up no Jill Stein or anything like that. It was the reparations part that got under his skin, and that's why he basically crashed out. And like she said, this guy is running for president. And that's how he chose to respond to this black woman on her platform that she invited him on, and he accepted. If she was such a shill for Jill Stein like you claim, you should have known that before you went on there and decided, you know what, I don't think I want to do the interview. You know, maybe our politics don't align with each other, but you accepted it anyway. So that's your fault if she's allegedly a shill for Jill Stein and you didn't do your homework or your team. But again, so much for that quote unquote black and brown coalition that again is not good on paper, and it damn sure is not real. But yeah, as I said, I never heard of this dude before. I'll be glad if I never have to hear or see him again after this. As a matter of fact, he's already an afterthought.